Welcome, everyone. It's Thursday. It is 6 minutes after the hour. It is August 1st, 2019, 60 degrees outside. It is 9 months and counting, Shane, as subs here at, here at KMMS.
I like that.
How's that make you feel, huh?
I like I'm on Italian bread with a lot of cheese.
Yeah, right.
A sub.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll have some peppers and tomatoes.
9 months in the chair. That's got to be some kind of record. So I don't know. Anyway, we're starting our ninth month here.
That's a lot of mornings.
That's a lot of mornings. That's a lot of mornings. And it's our 200th recorded show as well. So
I know.
That's pretty.
And
amazing.
today's a big thing for Rush. We'll talk about, but I mean, but he's been around since '88 or something like.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's been
5 days. Man.
Yeah,
I think he does it 5 days a week for 3 hours, right?
Well, he takes a couple of days off. I think he's like Johnny Carson. You know, the best.
Yeah.
They got. I don't know. They got they got Mark Stein in there every once in a while, and some of these other guys that But
well, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here. That's for sure.
That's right. I think I need. I think I need a sub on Friday. Or something.
Yeah,
we both need. Yeah, you'll have to find somebody in Canada to get on the air with. I'll find somebody here, and we'll take Fridays
Jennifer.
off.
Yeah, text Jennifer. She comes in just a perfect time. So
we can. Yeah,
bring me a sub.
Jennifer can do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bring one of those salami subs.
Right. Yeah. Well, we're excited that we're still here after 9 months, or starting our ninth month, I guess I should say. So I don't want to get too involved there, but we're ready to go. Either way.
Absolutely. Every morning, buddy. The mayor is in the house. The righteous eagle man is landed, as always.
Ready to go. All right, look at our weather. A 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mainly after 1 o'clock tonight. We'll have increasing clouds. High will be near 88 today, so still a pretty nice warm day out there. And tonight, about a 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms before 9 p.m. and gradually becoming clear, low around 56 tonight. Should have some wind, though. Some wind might get up to 20 miles an hour or a little more than that. So if you need to batten anything down, our tomato plant blew off our deck the other night. So, but it was okay. It's got one of those tall rings around it, and everything. So it was fine.
So have you ever grown a tomato plant upside down?
We got a kit once, but we never did it. We never did it. Yeah.
Pretty cool, actually. It works pretty good.
Have you done it?
Yeah, it works pretty good.
Upside down potatoes. Tomato
with
plants,
cherry tomatoes especially. Cherry tomatoes are the best.
Yeah. Well, we got callers already. I don't know if they're impressed with my weather forecast so far or what, but let's take a phone call. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Hey, this is Aaron. How you guys doing?
Aaron, you're early, man. What's going on?
Oh, got a big day today. Got to get after it.
All right.
If we're going to be rebuilding South America. I'm doing good, Shane. How are you?
I'm doing just great.
That's awesome. Did you guys hear what those dorks Democrats are running on?
Oh God! Believe me, I had to suffer through it. Don't believe me?
Yeah, we have to watch it. It's our job.
They're going to rebuild South America, huh?
Yeah, that's the story. I mean, gee whiz, if you've got a crummy country, America will be happy to rebuild it for you. No problem. We got an unlimited checkbook here.
Well, I'm going to be running for governor.
Well, good for you.
Yeah. And I'm going to run on, we are going to be rebuilding everybody's house so nobody has to get robbed.
Well, there you are.
The ridiculous thing since the 1950s, your country spent like $50 billion in those three countries in foreign aid.
Well,
it's just crazy.
I think we were starting cocaine gardens over there is what we were doing. Or banana factories, something like that. But anyway, they hate us for it. Whatever we did down there, they hate us for it.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. I mean, I free health care for the illegal.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Where's your compassion, Aaron? Come on.
Yeah,
my compassion
is for your fellow man. I mean, come on. We're all one people.
We certainly are. We certainly are, and then we should be robbed for it. I mean, it's crazy with the stuff that they were saying.
I know.
There's that one broad. She says the first thing she's going to do is she's going to Clorox the Oval Office.
I know. That was one of the top. That was one of the top spots of the night when Gillibrand said the first thing she was going to do is Clorox the Oval Office.
Oh, Clorox!
Yeah.
Well, I tried to repeat it, like rewind it like 3 times. I couldn't hear or understand the word she said. So thanks, guys. I really appreciate you clearing that up for me. Thanks.
I really hope Trump grabs her by the you know what. I'll tell you what. If Trump would have said that about Obama.
Oh yeah,
would have come unglued.
Oh yeah, I can't even imagine.
But on top of that, could you believe how they attacked him?
Yeah.
The only guy on the dais that's protecting Obama was Biden.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of crazy that I don't know, man. If those guys win any seat, if they win the presidency, if they take more Senate seats, if they take more House seats, I'm gonna throw up. I mean, why anybody would vote for those people? I don't get it at all. You know, it's I wouldn't vote for me, and I like myself a hell of a lot more than I like those guys.
Yeah.
You know,
I wouldn't vote for me. That's a very good one.
Well, if you do run, Aaron, I think Checkerboard needs help. Checkerboard Montana, if you can help them out, they need some help.
What is Checkerboard Montana, Tom?
It's up by I forget where it is, but it's one of back when we started the morning show or afternoon show. You know, like Rush always refers to Rio Linda as not being able to. Well, we always talk about the people at Checkerboard if they can't understand.
Oh.
I'm not sure exactly where it is, but it's up northeast of here, I think, or something. I don't know.
The greatest oxymoron of the last 2 nights about Twitter and Google was Thursday. Was the night before. Which guy had the most searches on Google and trending on Twitter? To find out about him and who he was, your governor in the state of Montana.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the highest rated in the state of Montana for wanting to know about him and who he was, and he's your governor. That's how relative Democrats are about who's running. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
All right, well, you guys have a good day. I'm going to get into some traffic here.
All right.
You guys take care.
Well,
bye-bye.
All right, take it easy. Yeah, thanks, Aaron. Yeah, when you have time, do Google Checkerboard. They got their own Facebook page. They got an Airbnb. Yeah, they're quite a little place. So, let's see. Elk hunting camp of Checkerboard, Montana. Checkerboard is the gateway to the Castle Mountains in central Montana. So Checkerboard, check it out. They are the place to they're the place to be if you want to be there.
We know they have at least one bar and probably a gas station. Do they have a post office though?
Well, I don't know. Well, I guess the post office delivers to every address in the world, so or in the U.S. anyway. So they're in Marr County, if you need to know. And I'm trying to find the population. Let's see. Census info, Checkerboard. Let's see. With population 934. There you are.
There you are.
So, how good is that, huh?
That's pretty impressive.
They're in. They're quite a little place there, and their population says 2010. Well, I don't know. Anyway. 934 strong in Checkerboard. If you're listening to us there, congratulations for getting us on the air. Pretty good.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
that's good. So Checkerboard, we love them up there. So let's see. Continuing on with our forecast. Let's see. What time is it? Yeah, we got a couple minutes here before we got to do the Montana News and Agriculture. Let's see. We said today high of 88. Tomorrow, Friday, 88 and mostly sunny, but afternoon rain again overnight, up and down around the area. Saturday, 86 will be the high and sunny. Rain early, but tapers off and a little bit later on in the evening. And then on Sunday, it's 88, overnight low of 56, partly cloudy. No rain until the late evening on Sunday. And then for your commute back to work on Monday, you're maybe driving home in afternoon showers. It'll be a high of 84 on Monday. Livingston right now is 58 degrees. Manhattan is 54. Three Forks is 53. Galton Gateway is 55. Belgrade at the airport is 55. Ennis 55. And at our downtown studios here in Bozeman, it is 60 degrees at the moment. So we're kind of warm right here. So it's pretty good. So looking for a high of almost 90 today again, 88, 89, somewhere in there. So.
And dry, right?
No. It's gonna rain. It's gonna rain all afternoon. Well, I don't know. There'll be showers around the area. I don't think the whole
county. Yeah, you'll get rain, but it's still, you have no humidity really. Right?
No, we don't. No, we've got almost no humidity at all, and that's what makes it so great that when it is 90, you're not sweating like you are in the Midwest or down south somewhere. So it's pretty nice. Pretty nice.
Yeah, it's not humidity is not pleasant, really, is it?
No, it isn't. Yeah. Well, that's what they say. It's not the heat, it's humidity. So, all right. We got to take a break here because, Montana News and Ag coming up. Sweet Dental. You need to know about these things. We'll be right back. Not really with it this morning. Blew off the Montana News and Ag, played two commercials at the same time. That button is really touchy. I don't know, man.
Yeah, well everybody got an ad review all at once. So
right? You
got it.
If we do two at once, then we're multitasking. So
yeah, that's right.
That's good. That's a good thing. So, all right, let's see if we can get through this day in history without blowing that.
Well, the first one's great because
it is great.
Go ahead, yeah.
First one is great, yeah. I don't have it. There it is. All right. 1790 on this date, the first U.S. Census was completed, showing a population of nearly 4 million people in the United States. 4 million, man. That was pretty good in 1790.
I'm so excited to talk about this because of the debates and everything. It's so relative. So, folks, I mean, we all know what's gone on about the census and so forth. So, it was here were the categories: free white males of 16 years and upward, including heads of families; free white males under 16 years; free white females, including heads of families; all other free persons; and slaves. So, it's incredible because you look at this, and the most populous state was Virginia, with 747,000 people. Massachusetts had 378,000 people. New York, 340, and let's see, Pennsylvania, 434,000. Highest percentage of African American slaves in a census in the United States, 17.8%. 694,280 slaves in the United States. And, of course, the free white females, including heads of families, 1.5 million. Even back then, there were more females. Free white males under 16, 791,000, and free white males of 16 years and upward, 807,000. So 1% of what your population is today, 99.9% of the people responded to the U.S. Marshals that were sent out to do the census. So, if you didn't answer, they could arrest you on the spot.
Wow. All right.
Imagine that.
Well, as I told you, I refused to do the long form, and last time we did a census, they came to the house, I don't know, like 5 times, I think. But I said, now, Dice, sorry, not filling out a wish list of entitlements for, whatever.
Yes. Well, the amazing thing about this is that the big subject about reparations for African American slaves, they've got these censuses that, since 1790s, know how many people were involved as a slave in this process. So, I mean, wow, it's amazing. Just amazing, I have to tell you. It was. Yeah. Reading about it was fascinating.
Well, maybe they should put on a census how many illegal aliens live with you,
Well, yeah, but they had this column of all other free persons, which included, of course,
free slaves. Well, Asians and others too. Well, there were some free slaves in the North.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, there were, but anyway.
Right. Sure.
So, yeah, I'm going to write in. I'm going to personally write in on my census form that I am a U.S. citizen because I don't want them deporting me back to California or anywhere.
Yeah, and you should say historically an indentured servant from Jamestown.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Because you want to qualify for some type of, reparation, because
I'm sure
clearly everyone that came to the United States was indentured in some way. So we found that out yesterday.
Just working with you, I should get reparations.
Only if you share, buddy. I get my 10%. Right?
Okay. Yeah. right. Yeah. Shane's my manager, right?
Yeah. Well, I get you won't want the Canadian discount, so it's really only 7%.
That's right. Oh man, I can pay you less. On this date in 1876, Colorado was admitted to the Union as the 38th state.
That's right, and the name came from the Spanish, Rio Colorado, for the ruddy silt that the river carried. Remarkable. It's called the Centennial State because it was 100 years, since the 1776. So they applied February 28th, 1861. August 1st, 1876, Ulysses S. Grant signed the proclamation to make them a state. Pretty wealthy state as things go. Population's 6 million, and the average median income is $70,000 a year, 12th in the country. Pretty cool, baby.
Yeah.
Highest point, 14,500 feet. Wow. Mount Albert in Lake County. Mount Albert.
All right. Well, in 1914, Germany declared war on Russia at the onset of World War I.
Pretty horrific, the War of All War, one of the deadliest conflicts in history.
That was nasty.
9 million combatants, 7 million civilian deaths as a direct result of the war, and the resulting genocide afterwards, including the 1918 influenza pandemic around the world, was 100 million deaths as well. Wow. Terrible.
Not a nice time to live, that's for sure. Well, in 1936, the Olympic Games opened in Berlin with a ceremony presided over by Adolf Hitler. And we all know what happened there with Jesse Owens and some of the other, the white race was kind of put down.
That's right. You won 4 gold medals in track and field, long jump, and so forth, and became the fastest human there.
Yep. And
the United States came in second with 56 medals. Of course, Germany scored big time in the Olympics with 89 medals, but it was pretty amazing event. And it was the first one filmed.
It was, yeah. Yeah, we got Jesse winning the 100 and the other races that he ran. But not invited to the White House by FDR, of course, at the time.
It didn't receive a fax. Everyone else that won, all the other people that won.
Telegram. They didn't have faxes.
I'm sorry, telegram.
Yeah, they got a telegram.
Thank you for correcting me.
That's okay.
You got my back.
I got to keep you honest here.
Yeah. So the other 55 medal winners all received a telex from the president, except Jesse Owens. Imagine that. Seriously. Yeah. Wow.
Well, in 1942, rock musician Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead was born in San Francisco. It's too bad Jeff Krause isn't here. He's a big Grateful Dead fan, follows them around the country when they play every once in a while. And don't even raise your hand that you are, too.
Well, no, it's just that not only...
You have a T-shirt?
No, it's ties. Remember,
you got ties. Yeah, Jerry Garcia ties. I forgot.
Yeah, I have 5 of them. But the fascinating thing about these guys is they did more concerts, live outdoor concerts than any other band in history. I mean, pretty amazing.
Yeah, they'll go to your bar mitzvah if you want them.
Yeah. They're very good. I like that.
Yeah. Well, in 1943, race-related rioting erupted in New York City's Harlem section, resulting in several deaths. So
that's right.
We take race all the way back to 1943.
Yeah, they were called. It was called the 1943 race riot. It started in Beaumont, Texas, on June 15th. One of the fascinating things about these riots in L.A., the Latinos wore what they called zoot suits, and these zoot suits were very cool and key to American history regarding races,
Mm-hmm.
because they were baggy suits, double-breasted, and they had these keychains that ran, from the belt with a big gold chain down to the knee on
Mm-hmm.
these pants, and then up into their pocket with the keys.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons that this is mentioned in all the history books in your country is because a lot of them got beat up, and then regrettably the white people, or white nationalists, I guess you could call it, because that's what they were. That they robbed them, but wanted particularly to rob them of their gold chain and keys.
Right.
So it's
they had shoulder pads and everything. They were quite the style of the day, and they had the two-tone shoes and all the deal. So
and an executive
the big
order,
hat. The big hat.
A presidential executive order 8802 was issued to prohibit racial and religious discrimination amongst people in the United States. Wow.
Didn't we already have that in the Constitution?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was going to say, I guess. All right. 1944, on this date, an uprising broke out of Warsaw, Poland against Nazi occupation.
Yeah, if you know anything about the World War II history, it was because the Nazis had turned several areas of Warsaw into camps.
Yeah.
Just for the Jewish communities, and very sad. They wiped out well over 1 million Jews in Poland.
Mm-hmm. They did. All right, when we come back, if you don't recognize the name Charles Whitman, we'll tell you all about him when we come back. So we'll be shooting for that. So, all right, we'll be back. Stay tuned. Fox News, Montana State News, and Brooke Foster Weather, Gazoo Night with Jacobus will be on, and Levin. Stay tuned. A lot coming up. 23 minutes for the top of the hour. It is Thursday, August 1st, 2019, 60 degrees outside, looking for a high in the upper 80s, almost 90. Shane Montalban on the air with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. Tom Eagle, your morning mayor in the house. And this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And on this date, and we're going to talk about Canadian health care in just a minute. So if you're not familiar with Canadian health care, we're going to finish up the a couple more things on the day in history, and then we're going to have Shane explain all of the great things about Canadian health care. All right, 1966, Charles Joseph Whitman shot and killed 14 people at the University of Texas before he was gunned down by police.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, that was quite we all remember that. That was televised, too, because they had the cameras out there. And
that's right. Well, he was in the tower, right?
Yeah, he was in the tower at the University of Texas. He boarded himself in there with 3 or 4 rifles, and he was a pretty good shot, too. I think he was a Marine, possibly, and he got 14 people, and I forget how many he wounded, but there were several that he wounded as well. But he was... he was pretty prolific up there with that weapon. So,
yeah. Well, it was one of that sort of was the beginning of that issue about television and what they should or shouldn't show on TV, right? Like there was no interruption on it because there are no guidelines from the FCC, right?
Yeah, they had no problem. They had no problem showing dead bodies laying around and all that stuff. And back in the 60s, no one. It was pretty dramatic. You got to see up close and personal what was going on there. Also on this date in 1988, August 1st, 1988, Rush Limbaugh began broadcasting his nationally syndicated radio program, 1988.
Yeah, and he's 68 years old, born in 1951. But, he was the third, Rush Hudson Limbaugh the third. But if it wasn't for him, there would be no talk radio today. And, conservatives wouldn't have a voice in media. They wouldn't.
Yeah,
he's the one who did it.
Well, he's the first one that came along, and he combined news. I don't know if you can call what he says news, but anyway.
Yeah, opinion.
He became the first one who combined entertainment with news, or with politics, entertainment and politics together. 3
to 5 hours a day with an audience of over 13.5 million unique listeners.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. In let's see. Also in
can we just mention MTV today because it's sort of important. It was launched August 1st, 37 years ago, 1981. And the reason I want to mention it, Viacom media networks is because it was Michael Jackson that did this, because he was the first one to create a video for music, which was his Thriller album, if you remember.
Yeah.
So that was a huge thing that, he doesn't get a lot of credit for, but he's the guy that started it. He really did.
Yeah. And they've gone completely away from music at all.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what they're doing over there, but anyway, it's not much music anymore.
No.
2011, the U.S. House of Representatives passed 269 to 161 emergency legislation to avert the nation's first ever financial default. We would have defaulted back then. So
that's right. The Budget Control Act of 2011, right after the big crash. And, the act has a lot of things. We should talk about the act one day, because it's pretty interesting what they came up with, the Joint Select Committee on Deficit Reduction.
Yeah. I don't even think that even exists anymore. It's even around anymore.
Well, not without a bailout attached to it, right?
I was going to say. All right, we got to take a quick break here. We come back. Shane is going to brief us on the benefits of the wonderful health care in Canada.
There you go.
We'll be back in 1 minute, so you don't have to wait very long for this. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. 18 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Thursday, August 1st, 2019, 60 degrees outside. Shane Taubman on the line, half man, half amazing, in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, where they've got universal health care, and it is so good. Tell us all about it, Shane.
Okay, well, first of all, the most important thing is our medical system is as up to date as yours.
Okay.
So we have the same quality medical service or applied service that you have in hospitals and doctors and surgery. So that's important to start out with, so people know that. But the Canadian Health Act of 1984 is universal under Lester Pearson, and he was a Liberal. And two things important about it. Number one, it doesn't cover eyes, ears, or throat, or foot, or hearing, or dental. So you have to get supplementary insurance for that.
Or vision.
Or vision, thank you. And so those things aren't covered, and you get supplementary insurance to cover that if you need it. It was predicated on the following basis: by family, by province, the percentage of all money collected by our federal government, which is now 11 to 12% of our GDP, is collected universally by the government in Ottawa, and then they've split up amounts to each province to cover the cost. So initially, families had to pay a monthly fee. Mine, with the four girls back in the 80s and 90s, was about $650 a month that we initially had to pay. But in the last 3 years, it's gone universal because the wealth of the country has allowed the cost to be managed to a point where now no one pays. So in Canada, it's free. There's no cost. But it's based upon two things that this is the difference: selective and elective surgery. So if it's selective, you having a heart attack, you go in ahead of anyone else. If it's elective, like a knee surgery or a hip, you may wait 2 years. So
to get it done,
to get it done. So with major surgeries, other than selective, you have to wait a long time. In care, like for an MRI, we don't have like 6 dozen in Vancouver.
Yeah.
So the 3 they have run 24 hours a day, not by doctors, but by technicians. And you could wait up to 3 months. I wait 9 months for an echocardiogram, as an example. So
wow.
That's the difference, folks. A lineup, and you're talking about your veterans having to wait for care, right?
Yeah. Well, you also have private clinics where you can go and pay, right?
That's right.
And that will get you in. That'll get you in much faster if you've got the income to do it.
Yeah, it took a group of doctors back in the 80s and 90s to go all the way to the Supreme Court of Canada to get the Supreme Court to say, yes, you can open a private clinic. The people can pay whatever they want for that, that stuff. So the private clinics have everything. it's like a typical American emergency room, but
Yeah.
you pay big time for it. And I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
anywhere from $3 to $5 a month to be a member.
How much tax does this cost everybody to? You're 30 million. We're 10 times bigger than you are, so we would have 10 times
Right.
the
So
cost, and
I think, last time I looked, our GDP is around 1.4 trillion.
Mhm.
It's 11% of that.
Okay. Which is
Uh,
compared for healthcare, you mean 11%?
Yeah, and
For healthcare.
your healthcare right now is around 16,
Yeah.
and heading to around 20, which is one out of $5. But
Mhm.
it's a matter of how you manage it and look at the solution. And again,
Right.
last night, not
Mhm.
everybody talked about how bad the healthcare is in your country, but nobody had a solution. Nobody could tell you how to solve the problem. Not one of them.
Yeah. Do you have caps on lawsuits and things like that in
Yes.
Canada? Okay,
Yes.
yeah, I thought, because one of our problems is malpractice insurance is a high cost to doctors and hospitals and whatever. And
No litigation here against individual doctors or hospitals. You can have cause if the result of something that failed, or something
Mhm.
done wrong, you don't feel you were provided for, because under the health system they have these provisions of what people are paid for something that goes wrong. You can take action for greater
Mhm.
benefits, which is fair.
Okay.
Should be.
Now, if you have a heart attack and the ambulance comes, what do you tell the ambulance driver you're having?
You think you're passing a kidney stone.
Okay.
It's the biggest call in the country, is people saying they're having a heart attack, which became so costly for the system that now if you tell the people picking you up in an ambulance you think you're having a heart attack, you'll have to pay for the ambulance.
You got to pay for the ambulance.
No, everybody says, I'm passing a kidney stone. Get me out of here. Right?
Okay. And so when they get to the hospital, they just find out they're misdiagnosed.
No, it's worse than that, because if you have a heart attack, an enzyme shows up in your system they can pick up and see, but it takes 7 hours.
Oh, okay.
So unless you're
it's better to be truthful with them than to.
Well, once you get to the hospital, after you get to the hospital,
Yeah, doesn't that make the ambulance ride retroactive to hey, it got lied to us, They put you on a lie detector or something, or
I've been here, so I know this. So the first thing they say, well, where does it hurt? And, you go like this, oh, here, and you put your hand over your heart.
Right.
Anyway, they have this protocol that they introduced 25 years ago. Saved a lot of people's life, and they give you a painkiller and then a blood thinner, and 20 minutes later, and then a couple other things to administer, reduce the heart attack, which is a pretty cool protocol. I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for the protocol.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
So
you speak from experience on this deal, right?
Oh,
yeah.
gosh.
No.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So.
When I had my second heart attack, I went in on my own because I knew I was having one. My daughter drove me to the hospital. I got in the emergency room, and they put you out and wait. You can wait up to 4 or 5 hours in an emergency room. So
even if you're having a heart attack.
Well, I went up to the nurse. I said, I'm having a heart attack. She goes, how do you know? I said, well, first of all, I've had one before, and I'm telling you, in 7 hours you can do the blood test and see the enzyme. And she looked at me. She goes, "Okay, we'll take you in."
Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm glad they did. So.
Yeah, I'm glad they did too.
So what you're telling us is that socialized medicine is not perfect as we thought it would be or hoped it would be. That everything is covered. Everything you do is paid for. So yeah, you don't have a bill when you get out of the hospital, or
no, you don't.
Yeah. So everything's covered by your taxes.
That's right.
You're prepaying, in other words, for your health care with higher taxes.
And when you get to retirement, you get a green card, for medication, so you don't pay for your medication after 60.
Okay, so do you pay for your medications now?
Yeah, until you retire.
So it's not it's. I know you pay less for things like insulin and things like that than we do here, but I guess one of the things that I'm trying to find the words for here. Prescriptions. You can't call in a prescription to a doctor.
No, because the way the system works is a doctor gets paid on the number of people he sees a day. He gets $35 a day for every patient he sees. So they will not call in a prescription. They want you to come into their office, so they write it out and they get paid.
Okay. So that's another way, I guess, that they could cut the cost of your health care if they just did that, but they've got to compensate the doctor.
That's right. And 2 years ago in our province, under our health system, our provincial system, 2 years ago, doctors now are allowed to charge an additional fee.
Wow.
So I have to pay my doctor $175 a year as an additional fee to see him, or find another doctor, which you can't. The other problem we have in this country is because of the system and its limited income that it generates for doctors, because it caps it basically. We have a major shortage. So as an example, you hear me talk about the loops. Yep. 85,000 people and 15,000 families in the loops have no family doctor.
Wow. So they got to go to Vancouver or somewhere else?
No, they have to go to a clinic. So there's clinics everywhere.
Oh, okay. So they got to go to a clinic and pay.
No. They have to go to a clinic for anything that they have because they don't have a family doctor. So they got to go to a clinic, and there's 4 or 5 doctors usually in a clinic. And then you wait in line again, or you either go to the emergency room or a clinic. So they put up clinics because there's a lack of doctors. So.
Okay. All right. We got to take a break. We'll continue. You can think about more things while we're out. We'll be right back. 6 minutes for the top of the hour, 6.5 minutes actually. Thursday, August 1st, 2019, 60 degrees outside. We're looking for a high of in high 80s. Low 90s today, so should be pretty nice. A little rain here and there this afternoon, but other than that, should be a pretty nice day. And we're talking with the expert on Canadian healthcare, Shaman Dobbin, of course, who lives there and experiences it. And three things?
I 3 things additional that people should know. Pharmaceutical costs in Canada are set at a global median by the government price control. So we have price control. That's why our pharmaceuticals are much less.
The entire country negotiates for all medical, right?
Yeah. Well, the federal government in Ottawa sets price controls based on a global median. So that's all that pharmaceutical companies can sell it to the provincial medical system. The other thing that people need to know is the exceptions we talked about is 30%. So basically we cover 70%, not eyes, teeth, nose, throat, and not mental. So if it doesn't cover if you see a
psychiatrist or somebody like that. Yeah.
Our costs have gone in 1975 from $40 billion to $140 billion last year. So. Those are the 3 things you need to know because it's important to know how much specifically is health costs as opposed to ones that are the exception, right? Mm-hmm. So it's probably similar in your country. So, that's the kind of stuff they should be talking about. These kind of numbers, right? That's what's so bizarre, and that they want to cover 70%, and these other things you'd have to get additional insurance for. And you can get it in Canada for a company with more than 6 employees. You can get, supplemental insurance for your employees for all these other things that aren't covered. So, and those they run about anywhere from $150 to $250 a month, the supplementary, depending on the size of the group or the company you work for. So there you go. Okay.
Well, like in our case with Medicare, for example, it covers 80%. You got to have a supplement for, the other 20% that Medicare doesn't.
But we don't have that.
Doesn't pay. Yeah.
We don't have that.
Yeah.
No.
Now, one of the things that came up in the debate is, and I think it was the first night with Delaney was saying that if we went to Medicare for all and they used Medicare pricing, hospitals would have to close. And I'm wondering, in our case here, if you have Medicare like I do, your doctor's going to get less for treating me, but someone comes in with workers' insurance or private insurance or whatever, the doctor can charge that person more because of their insurance.
That's right.
Now, is there something like that in Canada?
No, because here's the dirty secret you and I have tried to expose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Affordable Care Act is affordable insurance. The government doesn't. There's no insurance involved in this.
Yeah.
Except the supplemental of what they don't cover. And that's the terrible thing about these debates is they're all fighting back and forth about the cost of insurance. You know, the bottom line is that you take a portion like we do in Canada of the revenue the government has, and you redistribute it and you set up price controls. You know, like when I say that the doctors have a specific price they can charge for a visit, it's because the medical associations, the doctors, negotiate with the provincial governments about what they're going to get paid. You know, it's just a back and forth thing, right? Mm-hmm. So the bottom line here is, again, it's delay and selective and elective and selective surgery and care.
I would think just the prescriptions of having to go to the doctor to get a prescription would slow the line down tremendously.
Well, to get to your doctor, yeah, because
that's what I mean.
Yeah. For me to see my doctor, I have to wait 2 weeks, or I go to a medical clinic because if I have an infection or a bad cold, but it's still covered. And the doctors are as good at the clinic as your own doctor. But my doctor's usually pretty good. Within a week, I can get in, and you just call up and get an appointment. But it's still delayed. Yeah. So I mean, if you have a cold within a week, you could have pneumonia, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think the other thing Delaney was pointing out, we're just about running out of time here, is that it would cost probably more for me to get a knee replacement in San Francisco or L.A. or someplace like that or New York than it would be in Bozeman, Montana. And I'm wondering if it's the same with you. Does the doctor get paid more in Vancouver than they would in, say, Kamloops or?
Nope. It's
it's not based on population or anything else, or the cost of living of wherever you are.
No, they've determined the cost, or they've determined the income for surgeons, doing heart surgery or orthopedics, and that's what they get paid per operation.
Per operation, yeah. So. Yeah. Okay.
So,
all right. Yeah, we got to go.
Okay. I know. That's okay. I see the clock. I'm looking at the clock. You got 25 seconds.
Got 25 seconds. You're right. All right. Well, I hope that clears it up for everybody. The difference between U.S. and Canadian healthcare. We covered quite a bit there. If you missed any of that, get it on our rebroadcast. It'll be up today. So we'll be right back with more right after this. 6 minutes after the hour, it is Thursday, August 1st, 2019, 60 degrees outside. Jay Matavin on the line. Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor, in the house. And our poll question of the day, who won the second Democrat debate? And so far, as yesterday, Donald Trump's in the lead. With 46% of the vote. Tulsi Gabbard is running second at 20%. And then we've got a tie with Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Michael Bennet, Cory Booker, and Andrew Yang. And Kristen, de Blasio, Inslee, Castro, and don't have any votes yet. So it's still early in the morning. We'll see how it progresses as we go through the day. But got a lot of people waking up now, so go over to KMMSAM.com or on your smartphone at AM 1450 KMMS. And vote in today's poll. Who won the second Democrat debate in your estimation? So
here's a great ticket for the Democrats: Williams and Gilbert. I mean, it sounds like a couple of people.
Sounds like a play on Broadway.
Yeah,
I like
Williams, it. You have Williams, the wonky writer, and then Gilbert, who's smart and capable of advising her. Yeah,
Gillibrand.
Oh, okay. No, not Gillibrand. No.
Oh, Gabbard.
Gabbard,
Gabbard, yeah.
Williams and Gabbard.
Okay.
Williams.
Well, if I had to look at a Democrat for 4 years, Tulsi gets my vote to vote for.
Yep.
to do that.
And she would more likely come to Montana as vice president. So that's even better, right?
That would be better, yeah. Well, I don't know, but she's going to have the White House in Hawaii like Obama did.
Yeah,
so she'll be flying back and forth from Washington too. Got to sneeze. Sorry.
You know, just to throw this in, because we've covered this extensively,
Mm-hmm.
I want to remind people that 90% of everything you walk through is made from oil, petrochemicals.
Yeah.
And nobody segregates that out in the Green Deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they keep saying the second thing is the least producing carbon nation in the world right now is the United States because of its technology, particularly with coal burning. And, you know, it's an oxymoron to suggest that the United States, you know, reduce all these things by 2050 because nobody else is going to. Right? You're going to just
well,
have
that's
India.
what. Yeah, I think
it's a joke, right?
Yeah, either Castro or Yang, I forget which one, pointed that out. That you know, if we eliminate all of our emissions, we're still going to have a. You know, I think it's really interesting. We got 10 years. We got 12 years. We can't decide. You know, we got 10 years, 12 years. At one time, 10 years ago, I think I kept a list. I'll have to find it of stuff that was said 10 years from now, this is going to happen. And, you know, as the Congressional Budget Office back in, you know, 2006 or 8 or whatever, did the Congressional Budget Office, when they were talking about taxes 10 years from now or anything like that, they thought, oh, well, Lehman Brothers is going to fail, and, you know, GM's going to have to be bailed out, and the banks are going to go nuts, and, you know, the whole, the entire world is going to come to a screeching halt monetarily.
Well, that's right. And we covered this like 8 years ago when we talked about your Vice President Gore was setting up with Goldman Sachs and your president, Obama, to create a carbon index that would trade, you know, on the New York, or the Chicago COMEX, right?
Yeah.
And it, you know, it's just another grab to create another financial instrument, you know, that people could make a fortune from. But they were going to own it, Gore and Obama. I mean,
yeah, they were going to be who were the guys in Trading Places? The brothers. The brothers, the two brothers. No matter whether things go up or down, Duke and Duke get the commissions.
Yeah. There you go. Good call. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Gore and everybody will get the commissions, whether
Gore and Obama.
Whether it goes up or down. So that's what we're looking at in the future if these people get their way, because it's you know, we've read about the new Green Deal and they want to retrofit all the refit all the houses in the world, I guess, or whatever, and stop planes from flying, and no more cars, no more cows. I guess we're all gonna be vegetarians, whatever. I don't know, but anyway,
it was interesting.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
By the way, no, we got to mention this because it's important. With the deals your president's negotiating, we've talked about this as well, but it's got to be mentioned again. You know, when the UK splits from the EU, he can do a deal with the UK because of the 53 countries in the Commonwealth. Now, folks, the 53 countries in the Commonwealth, there's over 2 billion people in those 53 countries.
Yeah.
So if he does a deal just with England, forget Europe for the moment, you know, whatever. But nobody brings this up last night.
Yeah.
You know, what a huge opportunity there is for the U.S. to do a deal just with England and the Commonwealth for the 21st century. I mean, you get that deal done and you blow China right out the door.
I would think so. Seems like a no-brainer, and I think that's, you know, we've talked about it before, that we think that's what Trump's idea is, that we want to cut China out of the deal altogether, to where they're kind of sitting there by their own with very few trading partners, or at least very few trading partners that are doing big dollar amounts.
Well, exactly. I mean, and we're talking about India, 1.4 billion people. You know, Bangladesh has 165 million people. So I mean, wow, right there's 1.5 billion people, right? So I mean, the potential for him to make a deal with England is so huge, and that's why the British pound is strong and the euro's dropping. Because why do you need to trade with Europe when all these third world countries in the Commonwealth are developing countries now. So America has all kinds of everything to sell to them.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, the one problem is that our dollar is getting stronger, and that means that things are going to cost more to people in other nations. Just because of the strength of the dollar. Well, it is good if they can afford it. That's where it comes in. Yeah.
But they're all developing countries that can now. I mean, so that's
certainly,
trade,
certainly we're seeing that the markets have changed so much in recent years that they're with one of the things I guess that has we've had stock market crashes and things like that as we go along. We've had recessions and things that go along. But one of the things that we look back to the 80s where we had 10% unemployment, 10% inflation, things like that.
18% interest rate.
Yeah. We bought our house on a GI loan for 12%, thought we died and went to heaven. We never thought we'd ever see 6% again, let alone 3 or 4%. And even, now it may be that 3 or 4% of 300,000 is the equivalent of 12% of 75,000 or 50,000 that houses used to cost back in the day.
Well, and you're looking at the potential. Mm-hmm. Well, the numbers say that by 2050, a single family home, for 4 people, the average cost in North America, Canada, $500,000.
Oh yeah,
the average cost.
Yeah, the average. So it will be.
It's not going to get better, folks. It really isn't.
Well, it never has. Housing's always gone up, and the market sets the price. That's why our city commission, I think, is shooting themselves in the foot by trying to artificially create a housing price that can't exist or will be very hard to exist in Bozeman in any numbers. The numbers needed, certainly.
Well, I couldn't believe last night how they took shots at Biden and Obama and sort of got real close about blaming them for the drop and loss of all the jobs in your country, during that 8 years. But the bottom line is, whatever you want to say about Trump, he's brought 6 million jobs to your country. 1 million of those jobs went to African Americans, and 1 million went to Mexican Americans. So he has changed the landscape and proven you can create a growing economy, and it's the best in the world. So what are they going to say? How are they going to make it better? Not one person said how they were going to make it better.
Castro gave Obama credit last night during the debate because things have been going up for the last 15 years or whatever. So, of course, the president who never got a 3% increase in GDP is responsible for all this. That unfortunately, it just happened after he left office, because if he'd have got another term, I mean, we'd be on easy street right now. So
and I couldn't believe Biden didn't grab that and say, "Hey, see, that's why you should elect me." I'm the guy that was there. Oh my goodness gracious.
All right, we got to take a quick break. We got a caller waiting. Shane, if you can say hi to them, we'll be right back right after this. 18 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m., it's Thursday, August 1st, 2019. Temperature 62 degrees outside. We're looking for a high of 88 today. And Shane Montalban and I starting our 9th month in the seat here. 9 months and counting.
It's big, baby. It's big. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Eagle Man. You've been very kind and generous. I have appreciated every day on the radio with you.
Well, you're an asset to have with me, and people don't want to listen to me pontificate for 3 hours every morning, so we're glad you're along, because you add so much to the show, and I appreciate you doing it for free, by the way, in case people don't know.
That's right. At our age, it's like flag football, right?
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people don't realize I'm not an employee of KMMS.
I know that.
Yeah, I'm not an employee. I'm an independent contractor. I submit an invoice for my services to KMMS every month, and so I've never been an employee here. So I can do whatever I want. In fact, when I took the job again, I gave myself a raise. So
that was the right thing to do.
That was the right thing to do. Hey, if you're going to do it, you got to get paid for it. So We appreciate that everybody out there is listening to us. And let's take some phone calls here. We've been talking about Canadian healthcare. We've been talking about the debate last night. We've been talking about all sorts of things. So, caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Yeah, what I did a long time ago, well, when it was available, was I just got the app for Zillow. And
Zillow.
Mm-hmm. I did it kind of, I was looking into some real estate and what's going on. And it's real neat because you can look up your childhood home even and see what it costs then. You can find out. You take that virtual tour when you go to Google Maps and all that.
Yeah.
So you can really, if they want to put solar panels on some of those houses, or they're not even that now, some of those homes that were in Baltimore, I guess they could fit through the trees that are growing through the roof out there. Most of those dilapidated houses just wouldn't accept solar panels. They would crush, they would fall to the ground.
Through the roof, yeah.
And I doesn't get it, as we all know.
Yeah.
But so I just wanted to make a reference was the one I called yesterday. What's going on, I think, with Trump right now, it's sort of like back in World War II, when we already knew what the Germans were doing, so we'd have to pick and choose our battles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because we had already broken the code. And we might be doing the same thing now on not that we're at war, but on a different level, with the same basic idea. And we kind of know what's going on, but you can't solve it all at once because it may have adverse effects if we did it that way. And we, as basic people on the radio or in America, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We only hear the tips of it. And the news, maybe they're doing this to mislead the news. Maybe there already is, he says there's no plan, but maybe there is. Or there's an idea of how to lead us in a certain manner to in the end win. But could just be tiptoeing through it. So don't know, but just thought I'd put that out there.
Sure. Yeah.
That we don't know nothing. We're just, as we were called before, we're a bunch of yahoos and Hustons. We're smelly Walmart people.
There you are. Yeah.
Bye.
Hey, thanks. All right. Yeah, we don't know a lot. That's true. The great thing about these debates is that it really showcases where this Democratic Party wants to go. Mm-hmm. And most of us who are sitting out here working and, making a paycheck and, we look at our deductions and we look at the taxes we have to pay and all of that. And we think about, okay, how much, imagine if you got a bill for these things. Okay, your bill for this month, here's $40 for free health care for illegals. And how many, that's every month you're going to get this $40 bill. It's sort of like the $200 bills to maintain the parks. Well,
another couple of pizzas.
Yeah, it's another couple of pizzas. What's the big deal? But I think a lot of people would wake up immediately if they got a bill for illegals in schools or illegals doing this or illegals doing that. And until that happens, there's a drain on all of our resources. If you have to wait in the emergency room in L.A., now I'm not talking about in Bozeman because we don't have a high Hispanic problem of the emergency room being full of Hispanics or blacks or, you name Bangladeshans or, Indians or whatever. So, when we go to the emergency room here, more than likely, it's going to be Americans that are going to be sitting there.
Well, when we had our gathering last Friday night, I at one point I was blatant enough to say, Tom and I need to pat ourselves in the back, and I took my right hand, put it over my left shoulder, and patted myself on the back, and I said, we've made some really good calls since we've been on this show for the last 9 months, and before when we were on Saturday for the last several years.
Mm-hmm.
And the fascinating thing is, and again, I have to thank you because what an honor. But we cover more stuff than anybody on radio. Even Rush. You listen to Rush, or you listen to these other guys that are on for 3 to 5 hours on the East Coast on talk radio, and it's basically politics. But you and I talk about everything. We talk about finance, history, global impacts on things, and so it's a real joy to be able to have the opportunity to share that with our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
I think we give them more information than they get anywhere else, including Google.
Well, I would hope so. That's what we're trying to do anyway. As I've said many times, we're sitting here guessing at what you want to hear.
Yeah.
And, as I said, the caller called in about Canadian health care, so we covered Canadian health care. And I think a lot of people are not real knowledgeable about the differences between the two. They, if you believe the talking points, then Canada's a utopian medical, experience.
Well, no, but on a global basis,
yeah.
When they say it's a right.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom line here is the technology of the medical system, and ours is the same as yours. Yeah. They are. Mm-hmm. It is. Yeah. But like I said, selective elective and selective choices, and delays, and so it's like your vet's hospital, same thing, right?
Yeah.
If these guys had to wait for an MRI because of a heart problem, they could be dead, right? And
sure.
That's the problem.
Well, so, that was one of the problems that was discussed regarding the VA for so long, that the people were dying and waiting to be seen, and so do you want to translate that into the U.S. running all of healthcare with no competition, and deciding what you can and can't have, and what you're going to have to buy additional insurance for and things like that. So I don't know. I'd rather have some choices somewhere along the line. So let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
This is Clint.
Hey.
How are you this morning? Hi there.
Always a pleasure to hear from you, good sir.
Well, Shane, I'll tell you something. The sky is pretty good this morning. I don't see any of them vapor trails or chemtrails, as they call it. So that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
But there's 2 or 3 things I wanted to talk about. Number one, I watched the debate. Like you guys watched it, didn't you?
Absolutely. We have to. It's our job.
Well, to me, when you're debating with each other, they should be debating what President Trump's done wrong. Not debating amongst themselves what they done wrong. What they've done is tore themselves apart. They're destroying their own party. That's one thing. And the second thing I wanted to talk about was this here climate change. They want to get rid of all the fossil fuels and go to wind and solar and such. Mm-hmm. And electric cars. I wonder if they ever stopped and figured out how much electricity has to be produced to keep these electric cars plugged in the evenings. I wonder if they've thought about that.
No,
they haven't.
No, they haven't.
Clearly not. No.
No, and the next thing is you've got a bunch of Democrats on the other night before last, talking about the very same things basically as they talked about last night. Mm-hmm. Well, I refused to debate my own party one time here on this radio station. And the reason being was because I didn't want to tear the other guy down, just trying to run as a Republican, and I didn't want him to try to tear me down as a Republican. I wanted to debate what is going on with our government now, not each other, but what could we do better than, let's say, Trump? What could we do better than the employment situation. Could
Well,
we
I think
make it better?
I think they covered that. They want immigration. They want the kids in cages, and they they want the new Green Deal, and they want universal health care for everyone. That's going to cost $30 trillion, and they're not sure how to pay for it, and all those things.
Right.
But that's where we are. So
well, they took on immigration. Okay, they lied about a lot of that.
Oh yeah.
Of course they did. Yeah.
And they're fighting amongst each other, and that's what I'm saying. When you're on a debate stage, you want to debate what the president's doing wrong.
Gotta
Each other. Not each other. It's the stupidest damn thing I ever saw in my life.
There you go. Gotta go. Hey, thanks, Clint. All right. We'll be back right after this. 25 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Thursday, August 1st, 2019, 65 degrees outside. Shane Matobin on the line with me. Half man, half amazing, and always right from from Vancouver, British Columbia. And Tom Igaloff, your morning mayor, who is also always right.
Of course. That's what makes you the exceptional and righteous Eagle Man.
That's right. From our text line, shame, you might cover everything or more than others, but when you're wrong more often or such, you're barely worth minimal wage. So, all right. So
there we go. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate the compliment.
We always like insults. So I should hasten to say, this is also from our text line from another listener, should hasten to say most blacks are Americans descended from slaves, obviously. So. And many are, but there are others that come here. I'm sure there are Africans who have come here, not in slavery, but anyway.
Yeah, but the important thing is we mentioned about Jamestown the other day, which is this 400-year anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone that came to Jamestown was an indentured servant, a slave.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, basically, America was started with slavery of whites and blacks.
Amen.
Both.
There you go. Let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Calling you on the air. What's going on?
Well, good morning, people.
Hey,
Hi,
Pete. What's up?
Well, a couple things. I got a new poll question for you for tomorrow, Tom.
Ooh, all right. Give it to me.
Just what planet do you think that the candidates for the president are from?
What's the weather like on their planets? Is that what you...
It ain't from this one. And I find it interesting, Shane, that Americans go to Canada for drugs and Canadians come to America for treatment.
Yeah.
Well, or India. The other big choice is India because you can take your whole family. I mean, India's made a big deal out of this. They have resorts around their hospitals, so the entire family can go for a month, and everybody can enjoy the resort and visit their, whoever's in the hospital, and
eat junk food.
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, exactly. Eat junk food. Yeah, Indian junk food. Ooh, with curry.
I was looking at some numbers, Shane. And this is all Tom. It doesn't matter. But it's 4 banks, Deutsche Bank, J.P. Morgan Chase, Citigroup, and Goldman Sachs, are leading the planet in the amount of derivatives that they're holding. Deutsche Bank is $49 trillion. J.P. Morgan is $48. Citigroup is $47 trillion. Goldman Sachs is $42 trillion, for a total of $186 trillion in derivatives, or 20% of a quadrillion dollars. That's
the global market.
Zeros.
Yeah.
And if they factored in all the other banks, it's approaching 14 to 17 quadrillion dollars. And I think the GDP of the world is what, 60-some trillion?
That's right. And this is one of the things that last night that upsets me about these Democrats, your demolition party, as I call them. They keep talking about taxing the rich, and we've covered this. The upper 10% pay 87% of state, federal, and local taxes in your country. We talked about this. 49% of Americans don't even pay taxes.
Right.
And no one brings these numbers up, right? No one wants to talk. Like Yang disappointed me because let's talk numbers, and then he didn't.
Well, I think Gabbard did better than anybody last night. And Plus, I'm not a big fan of hers, but she tries to be more truthful, except when she called Trump a racist, which I don't get that at all. I don't know where they think they're going to go with that. But what I'm wondering is if they dug into all these little bundles and these trillions of dollars in derivatives, what they're going to find in there. Moths.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course, that's one of the problems that you have with it, right? And the unexposed liability to it, that's the other side of it, right?
Yep. That is the other side. So we're talking a lot of money. And I don't know where it's going to come from. What's this? 14% of the U.S. GDP is trade. 14%.
Well, we talk about markers, and I've told people now for a year, I think, Tom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Insurance annuities are going to be the next, mortgage-backed security problem in your country because there's no regulation, and it's over the top. That's how they finance all your sports in your country with annuities, and we've talked about it. So, there's always a cause for something terrible. It's always worse than before, so no one can fix it, right, until it happens, right? And we have to be very weary about like what you're talking about.
Well, what do they say? I see you can see commercials all day long on the TV. If you're thinking of investing in an annuity, don't.
Well, that's right, and you shouldn't because it's a very scary reality of how they work and what's going on with them. And again, people don't know it, but they hear about it from us, right, Tom? You and I try to make it all right.
Us and Fisher Investments talked about, don't ever buy it. I'd die and go to hell before I sold an annuity.
Yeah, exactly.
I find it interesting. Some of the, I don't know. I think TV could be free if they cut all the ads out. Then they wouldn't have any money.
Well, yeah.
But what happens is that they constantly shoot themselves in the foot.
Oh, I know.
Especially the drug companies, they're the worst.
Oh man,
it's unbelievable.
Well, I'm excited that we've gone through probably about 2 weeks with no Noxatril and no hernia net. So
and I haven't had any robocalls.
Well, wow. All right. Maybe it must be. I guess must be sunspots.
There you go.
Sunspot. Yeah, our flare didn't happen, so I guess it's going to be tonight, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been waiting for it, Pete. I got my aluminum foil cap on every evening, sitting out on the deck.
Yep, yeah. I got 2 of them all made up in case one of them starts to get too warm. I can switch it out. I'm keeping it on.
Yeah,
nice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want to fry what few brain cells I got left.
Well, that's yeah. You need those, Pete.
I definitely do.
You better hang on to those.
I'll be the first one to hit
buddy.
All right, man. Thanks for the call.
That's all the bad news I got for today.
Well, thanks a lot for cheering us up as usual. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back in 1 minute, so stay tuned. 16 minutes for the top of the hour. It is Thursday, August 1st, 2019, 67 degrees outside. Shane and Tobin on the line. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor in the house. Text line's lighting up, Shane, so
all right.
Let's go over there. Let's see, from our text line, 478-8298, at least the Democrats are talking about health care. Trump thinks he fixed it by removing the mandate. What about people who need insurance? People need affordable health care more than $20 in their paycheck. USA ranks 11th in health care below Canada, and we spend the most. The system is broken. If Dems want to win, they should lie like Trump. Free health care, and Mexico will pay for it. Suckers fall for those kinds of lies. The first thing I'm going to do as president, I'm going to Clorox the Oval Office. Gillibrand said that. That was one of the 2 top quotes of the night. She was going to Clorox the office, and Cory Booker said, "Hey, you're sipping the Kool-Aid and you don't even know the flavor." So
the great thing about Cory Booker last night is 3 times.
Yeah,
3 times he said, we shouldn't be attacking each other. It's only It's only benefits Trump. And then he went out and attacked everybody.
Yeah, I know. He went after everybody else. So
yeah, exactly.
Let's see. Let's see. A third of slave owners were black. The first registered owner was black. That's from Jared. So, all right, signed text. Getting back to USA ranks 11th in healthcare. Well, I brought this up at our meeting Friday night, last Friday, a week ago, when Shane was here, and we all got down to the Grand Tree, and that question came up, as to, well, we rank so bad and we spend more on our health care. Well, I just mentioned Montana has better health care than California. We need fewer hospital beds here than they do in California. We spend less on drugs than they do in California. We have fewer operations than they do in California. So Montana must have vastly superior health care to California.
And per capita, you have more vets and you have more retired people.
That's right.
So I mean,
yeah. Well, we don't have more retired people in California.
No, I said per capita.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't want to go there. I mean, that goes, I don't know.
The point is that, you have a Democratic governor and a Republican House, and they work together to solve problems.
Yeah. If there's another nation on Earth with 320 million people that has better health care than we do, I'd like to see it. So please text me and which country that would be.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah. Somebody said Japan, and it was Japan doesn't have 320 million people.
No, 126 or 28 million.
No, they don't have that much. Somebody looked it up at the meeting. It was 17 or 70 million or something like that. I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, let's take another phone call. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Calling you on the air. What's up?
Well, here's my prediction.
Okay, go for it. We're waiting. Okay. The prediction, I guess, is nothing.
Japan's population is 127 million people.
Okay, so a third of the U.S.
Yeah, but it's a first world. It's a first world nation.
Sure.
It's another one of those country clubs we talk about.
Yeah.
And they do. One of the big things about the Japanese is their technology, and so and it's clean. Oh my gosh, is that country clean? Wow.
Yeah. Well, Japan would have better health care than us because they have fewer hospital beds, they have fewer ejections, they have fewer operations, they have fewer deaths than the United States does. So they must have better health care.
And I just want to tell people one of the things that's amazing about Japan is they have a policeman on every corner that has a book, and probably now a computer, I'm sure, because this was back in the 90s, but they've probably updated to a computer. And in that, he's got the name of everybody in his neighborhood. So it works out to about 50 to 100,000 people that they have tabs on. And they know everybody in the neighborhood. They know where they work, when they work, where they live.
Okay.
It's amazing how that country is set up. You should read about it. It's quite fascinating.
Well, all right. Well, maybe we can do that. So.
Yeah.
Let's take some more phone calls. Hey, we got people wanting to talk to us, so let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Good morning. I just like to tell you that my wife is Japanese and is very familiar with the Japanese system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you can wait for a very long time. Unless you can pay the doctor under the table, you basically don't get the surgery.
All right.
In addition, when you go into the hospitals, while the outsides look nice, clean, and neat, the insides aren't. The paint is sloughing off, chipping off. It's just because, like any socialist system, once you get it established, you pretty much stop the technological advance.
And maintenance.
And the maintenance.
Mm-hmm. All right. Good call. Hey, thanks for the info. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thanks very much. All right. Let's take another call. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Calling on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's your take?
Hey, good morning. Well, I tell you what, I'd like to shift gears just a bit, if I might,
Sure.
to another issue that's come up. Many years, well, not many, it was two years ago, the Equifax data breach came up, and we all got hit with that in some way, I guess. Made us aware of just what kind of a Mickey Mouse system that's all about. And then the other day, I found out that now they're offering compensation for that. So it took the government 2 years to impose some kind of a ruling that says all of us, I think you guys and everybody else listening, can dial in somewhere online and get a compensation from Equifax for what they did back then. You get like $125. It's sort of like real money, and it's a couple meals maybe.
Yeah.
And if you have real damages, you could get a lot more than that.
Yeah, if you suffered identity theft or something like that, I think you get a lot more. But yeah, I think.
The settlement was $425 million with the U.S. Trade Commission. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. A good number.
But the fascinating thing about this, and I'm glad you called. The fascinating thing about this, I'm glad you called. This was an exception because this, I'd have to go check to make sure. I don't know that it's the first time, but it's the first. It's not a normal case because in this situation, the negotiated fee paid out would be going back to the people that were affected. Most settlements by your federal government, the money goes into the black hole, right?
like the Facebook settlement.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't go back to the people involved.
No.
So the next peel of the onion is, okay, so we woke up 2 days ago and found out that Capital One credit card has also had a data breach. So they, it's like one day after another, you've got all your identity information being given out to who knows who in the black market for resale. And these guys, I tell you, there's something kind of smelly wrong with this, just throwing money at us or whoever to resolve their culpability in protecting information that they collect about us it seems to me to be criminal. They put us all in jeopardy and substantially could end up costing us a lot of money if we end up with identity theft.
Well, that's what I was talking about the other day. How can Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion have any credibility at all when there's such a plethora of stolen information? And if you have identity theft, it's a major deal to get your credit cleaned.
That's right. Exactly.
You always have to pay somebody to do it for you. I mean, you can't. You're supposed to be able to dispute it or whatever, but I would think if the government wants to do something, let's make it easier to clean your report if you've been injured.
I agree, and the thing that's irritating about this is I don't see anybody talking about this in the current political climate, these debates or anything else, talking about this whole information vulnerability that we have as citizens in this world that we live in today. If you're not doing online banking, you're really behind the curve in being able to do business out there.
That's for sure.
So it's so these organizations they've set themselves up to be non-culpable for whatever violation they have in our data, whether it's Facebook or Google or Experian, Capital One. All these credit card companies, they all have that vulnerability.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I guess what I'm.
Yeah, I was going to say the reason it's not covered.
What other people think about it.
Yeah, I was going to say the reason it's not covered in the debates is so commonplace that it's not an emotional thing to talk about. It won't get you votes.
Well, you know what? That's a good comment. Yeah. I really hadn't thought about it that way. I don't know why it's not that way though.
Well, it should be. It should be, but it's so commonplace and. People who are victims of identity theft. I know my local bank here called me one day and said somebody's trying to take $600 in North Carolina out of your account. We just wondered about that, and I said, "Yeah, that ain't me." So the bank saved me here. That was First Security. They did that for me. So I don't know if Glacier would do the same thing, but
what's outrageous about this in all cases is they say to us then. Oh, we'll give you a credit monitoring service for every.
Well, yeah, you got to pay for that. Yeah, we'll keep track of who's trying to steal stuff from you, but you got to pay us to do it. So.
Well, yeah, that's right. You're paying the crooks to to watch out the crooks.
Shouldn't you be doing that as a normal course of business? I mean, it's like going in to getting your oil changed, and do you want all of the oil changed? Because that'll cost extra. We'll do half the oil for you for our low price, but if you want the full oil change, I don't know.
So somebody was visiting here from Mars, and you sat them down and said, "Hey, look. I'd like to explain to you how our financial system works here."
Wow.
I mean, this is almost unbelievable. I mean, you look at it, you think, who in the hell created this mess?
I was going to say the founding fathers just say, "What? What?"
Yeah, that's right.
So what you're saying is what you're saying is going to take malevolent aliens to land here and save us from our own tax laws.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Or even worse yet, maybe the Democrats, eh?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Hey, great call. Hey, great call. Nice to talk to you.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. All right, take care. From our text line, 478-8298, Montana has healthier people than California, cleaner air and water, and we are more active. And I would agree with that, yeah.
Great.
Let's see. Most Democrats would rather have freedom on the Internet as opposed to security. So I guess maybe that might be the case. So, All right, let's take one more phone call here before we have to take a break. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
I think they just hung up.
Are you there?
Nope. I'm here, but they're not.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. They were there.
I get up early to be here, and I stay the whole time.
Well, all right. Well, let's try this again.
All right.
Caller, you're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up? All right, let's try here. Caller, you're on the air. What's up?
Well, I think my last call. Hello?
Yeah.
I think my last call got zapped by that sunspot.
Oh, okay.
So that's either that or they're monitoring me. One of the two.
Okay.
Well,
that was probably it. Yeah. Yeah, you just kind of went away. You were going to tell us your visionary plume.
Well, here's my visionary, and I was right last time. So
okay, good.
If the Democrats don't pick Gabbard and Yang, they might as well FedEx that election to Donald Trump.
Okay, like they said last night. Hickenlooper, I think, said that. So. Yeah. Well, No, I thought Gabbard did a pretty good job last night. She came out strong and gave people a new impression of her, that she's not just she's not just an attractive person. She's got a brain there somewhere. So,
and she can surf too.
Well, okay. Well, all right. Now, I'd rather see her in a bikini surfing than Putin riding a horse without a shirt. So that works for me.
Well, and her comments about Harris were dead on. I mean, I'll bet people were checking that out. Wow.
Yeah.
She did not make Harris look good.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, she dissected Harris like a frog.
Yeah,
she did.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, it was pretty. It was pretty painful, and she got off of it pretty. Harris tried to get off of it pretty quickly, but they kept going after her for that. And Biden too. When they were going after Biden a couple of times, Cory Booker says, "Hey, you can't, embrace Obama one sentence and then, kick him away from the next one." So, all right, man.
Shane, when you did the finances, explain to us why the Fed announces a quarter-point rate cut and the stock market goes down 300 and some points.
Okay, we'll talk about that when we come back.
Explain that.
We'll explain it.
Please explain that.
Okay. We'll explain it when we come back. Yep. We got to go. We got to take a break here. It is the top of the hour. Our 200th recorded show today, and 1,200 plus downloads. Thank you very much for doing that at our website, KMMS. Look at or KMMSAM.com. Look for Tom and Shane podcasts, and you can check out any of our past shows over the last few months. 6 minutes after the hour, it is Thursday, August 1st, 2019, 70 degrees outside already. It's not even 9 o'clock yet, Shane. We're already at 70 degrees. We're looking for a high of about 88 or 89 today. It might make it to 90 in some areas, so we're excited about that. We had a caller last hour that wanted to know about the interest rate. The Fed hiked the interest rate a quarter point, or cut it, whatever they did. They cut it a quarter point, sorry. Let's see, from our text line, 478-8298, Fed drops rate, attempting to keep Trump's economic genius myth alive. Do you think? And from our text line, Gabbard, an articulate combat veteran, Trump dodged the draft, and STDs can't form a complete, coherent sentence. Well, he's still the president of the United States, still got elected when nobody gave him any chance of even making it out of the first debate, got more primary votes than any president in history. So,
yeah, and he's got a phone and a pen.
And he's got a phone and a pen. All right. Let's talk about that Fed rate because it did tank the market 300 and some points yesterday, and it increased the value of the dollar.
Right.
So that makes our stuff more expensive overseas, and I think that's what kind of brought part of the market down. But what are your thoughts?
Okay, my 1 minute rant. I'll try and get through this as quickly as I can. So the Dow is now up 97, 30 stocks, 26.9, almost back to 27,000. So it dropped yesterday because of what's called the Japanese Japanese trade. So real quick, in 87, the Japanese market, Nike, was at 36,000, and then they had a collapse, of their own.
Right.
It's now back. It would drop to 16, and then it's back now to 21. So they've gone nowhere since 87. So what the Japanese banks do is quantum easing. They buy debt from the government to sustain it, 100% against GDP, their debt. And then the Bank of Japan buys it back from them. But while they have that money, they invest it, they take it and they use it to invest. And they've been investing it in the U.S. market. So as Mike and I told you yesterday, when interest rates drop, the value of the bond goes up. When interest rates go up, the value of the bond goes down. So what you saw was the Japanese moving off positions to jump in and grab U.S. debt against their book to be able to trade, because that's how they're trying to survive. So I know that sounds complicated, but the other side of it is the Fed wants to maintain the strength of the U.S. dollar. This is not about inflation. It's not about the economy. It's about continuing the strength of the U.S. dollar because it's the sovereign currency in the world. So while the value of the U.S. dollar has gone up, the important thing for everyone to know is when you look at currencies, the euro's $1.10 and dropping. Remember, just 3 weeks ago, we were talking about $1.12, right? And I was saying, if the euro goes part of the dollar, all games are changed in trading, because the U.S. is oil independent, doesn't have to buy any more oil. And if they go par with Europe, my gosh, your trade balance will shift so drastically. It'll be amazing. So that's my rant. Hope it covered it. If there's other questions, please call, and we'll try and answer them.
522-TALK. Give us a call if you have any disagreement with that rant or whatever. But, the downside, as I mentioned before, it makes our products, a strong dollar makes our products a little more prohibitive overseas, and you could throw the tariffs in there if you want, but that's not going to, the tariffs aren't going to do much as far as the value of the dollar. So,
and your dollar should get stronger, and it should be better, because everything you produce, like from jet planes to, caterpillars and everything else, should cost the world more. We assume, like you and I say, Canada and the U.S. consume over 25% of the world production of everything.
Oh, yeah. And we're 7 or 8% of the population or something like that.
Yeah. So why shouldn't people pay more for the great products we produce? And, like last night they were talking about China and this whole issue. Look, your president's trying to open up trade to China. Right now, you can't sell any American products to China. Same with agricultural products into Canada. So, I mean, the game's on, baby, and he's thinking 100 years from now, and they should all appreciate what he's doing, because everyone else thought 20 years, and look what it cost you.
Yeah. Well, as we said earlier, he is trying to cut China out. If he can, as you pointed out earlier, if he can cut a deal with Great Britain that has 53, entities out there running around.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good sized deal if he can make that happen.
People.
Yeah, I was going to say, and if you can cut China out of that deal, that hurts them more than they are, and they're already hurting. But I do believe they are going to hang on to see what happens with this election.
Yeah, to their detriment.
I think so.
Is. I find it really. You'd think that they would be jumping at any, but the reason they won't is because they're thieves, they're robbers.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. They'll sign any kind of deal eventually, but they won't. They won't stick to it. You know that. We've seen what they've done in 30 years.
Well, particularly in the intellectual property, that's the big deal there. That they steal any technology that they can get their hands on, and as you know, when a product goes into China, they got to give up the trade secrets to China in order to manufacture it there or whatever. About the only thing that you can do is give up the secrets of part of your phone and have the rest of the phone made somewhere else. Or have the parts that aren't technologically important made there, and then make your someplace else in a more friendly nation.
And just to give you an idea how tough Asians are, all the TV screens and cell screens that you see are built in South Korea,
mm-hmm.
and they're shipped to China to put on TVs and cell phones. South Korea won't give them any intellectual property about that.
No.
They won't even consider it.
Mm-hmm. Well, they shouldn't. No country should, but
no. But when China's against a wall and they need something,
mm-hmm.
and you won't give it to them, and they'll still take it because they need it, right? So I mean, Trump's the first president to stand up to this, and there you go.
Well, we've had what do you want? Do you want fair trade with China? Do you want them to adhere to the how many times have they violated the World Trade Organization, the WTO? I mean, it's almost a weekly thing, but they got no teeth to do anything about it. The UN won't do anything about it.
Well, and even cases they've lost in
mm-hmm.
in the World Trade Organization, they still didn't respond or follow the they don't. People have to understand this. This is
mm-hmm.
serious stuff. This is not a joke.
Yeah. Well, you have an elected president, and then the president decides, well, you know what? I'm just going to make myself president for life, and everybody says, okay, no problem.
Seriously.
Well, you got the army, you got the you got all these people that are to take care of you. Oh, geez. From our text line 4788298, China is out and India is in, and there may be some truth to that. If India had an infrastructure, they'd be pretty amazing. That's their biggest problem.
They gotta build it.
Well, they do. They don't have an infrastructure to bring their goods to market very successfully, and that's one of their biggest problems. Also from our text line, tariffs are liberal. Ever wonder why the Dems don't criticize Trump's tariffs? Well, they sort of do, but not much. They certainly didn't last night.
No,
they mentioned it, but mostly they're against him keeping kids in cages because that's more emotional than tariffs are.
I mean, Tom, I have to say, this was the Obama policy, not his.
Yeah.
It's
well, and I said the other day, there's three reasons they separate the children from their parents or whoever it is. First of all, they got to make sure that the parent or guardian is not a child trafficker or smuggler or whatever. They also have to make sure the child's not being abused by the parent or guardian that's with them. And the third reason is the parent or guardian wanted for a crime in either the United States or their own country.
So the answer to this whole thing, your president should stand up and say, the foster system in America for abused children
mm-hmm.
or people that go to jail, right? That's the foster system.
Yeah.
We're going to apply this now at the border, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So all you liberals out there that care so much about all these children down on the border, whatever the number is, 2,000, 2,500. I want you to step up and take these children as foster children until we remedy your 3 problems that you just said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, once we find those things out, and also, how about this tracking thing on your ankle till your court date?
I met a wonderful couple at Tammy's party. They have now their 11th foster child, and they've been doing it. And what a wonderful story about a family with their own children as well that are caring for babies, twins.
Wow.
And so forth. And it's like the Army Corps of Engineers. It's like quarantine. So here you go. Foster children will be a great answer to this whole Democratic argument about children at the border. Okay, you want to solve the problem, folks? Let's get foster. And guess what? The churches will stand up and do it. Yeah. Which doesn't include liberals.
Well, the other thing they got Biden on last night, Obama deported 400,000 way more than Trump has in 2 years. So what's the deal, Joe? Would you have let those people in? And Joe's dancing around there. He didn't know what to say to that, man. So as Cory Booker said, hey, you can't pick and choose the 2 policies of Obama. Can't pick the ones you want and disregard the others. How do you feel about this? And Joe
as we know and talked about, Clinton deported more illegal immigrants than Obama, Bush, or even Trump.
Yeah. Well, that was back in the days when we used to enforce the law. Now, of course. Well, the reason that we're getting thousands of people coming north is they know they can get across the border easily, and they'll just be, their asylum case will take 2 years, and they never have to go to court, and they'll just hide out till then, and whatever, and hopes that somebody comes along and will give them automatic citizenship because they've been here for a while.
Right, and every one of those Democrats on the dais last night said the immigration in this country is broken. We need to fix it, but they won't come up with a They won't come up with a solution, to negotiate with Trump to solve the problem. At least he's got an answer. He says, "Here's the solution. What's your solution? Tell me what your solution is."
Yeah. Well, we can't do it in 1 minute.
I know that's why I'm talking so fast. Okay, I'm trying to talk quickly.
Yeah. And, of course, Kamala Harris, I don't care about the rules. I'm going to keep talking because I like to hear myself talk.
Oh, no, don't accuse me of that.
She is a trip, man. All right, we got to take a quick break here. We'll be right back with more Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane right after this. 21 minutes after the hour of 8 a.m. It is Thursday, August 1st, 2019, 72 degrees outside. The temp keeps going up every time we take a break here, Shane. I don't know what's going on here. We're getting, must be the sunspots out there getting a little warm.
No, it's all our fault. We're heating it all up, baby. We're heating it all up.
From our text line, 4788298. You're going to love this one, Shane. I love it when fellow racist Shane calls the Chinese thieves. So if you call the Chinese thieves, you obviously must be racist. So
Yahoo! I qualify, baby. I qualify.
All right. Kamala Harris has the swagger of "I'm the boss," leaning into her hand on her hip last night. Yeah, I'm the boss. I want to tell you, if she's in the Oval Office, nobody else is going to talk.
Yeah, she'll be the smartest person in
if
the
they
room.
try. She's not. I'm not done yet. Just hang on there. I mean, if you've ever seen her in any of the hearings, oh my God. I mean, she loves to hear herself talk and beat up on whoever it is and not let them answer. If they start to answer, oh my God, here she goes again. So, yeah. And I've only got so much time, so yeah, we spent it all talking.
Well, and I'm still amazed that no one took a shot about our grandparents in Jamaica owning slaves. I mean, when is that going to come up?
Well, that's not going to come up, and neither is Biden going to come up with the $1.5 billion that his kid got. That's not going to happen. So, I mean, you just might as well put those to bed. Well, Trump might mention it in a debate.
Absolutely.
Maybe. I don't know.
He's just rubbing his hands, baby. He's just rubbing his hands.
Well, we'll see. But, boy, I don't know. It will. I don't know. Watching these folks, I'll be glad when there's fewer of them and they get more time to really lay out. I don't want to be rude, but the ignorance of their plans. I could say stupid, but that would be incorrect. I mean, it's
just stick with demolition party. They want to demolish everything. That's what they want to do.
Well, it certainly seems like they want to demolish the America that most of us grew up in. So I don't know.
They want to set you back 100 years. I mean, oil saved the whales.
Mm-hmm.
It provided the Industrial Revolution. It created petrochemicals. I mean, there's look, without petrochemicals and lubricants, you have no industry.
Yeah.
Well, you don't. No one brings that up. No one brings it up.
Well, because it's a talking point, because oil leads to pollution. All they're talking about is that. I don't think other than the paint smell for a couple days, if you paint paint your living room with oil-based paint, you might have a smell for a day or two, but and your carpet, you put new carpet in, sometimes that's got a thing that lingers a little bit. But
well, there's two comments about that. One,
do you want to give up oil paintings? Do you want to give up oil paintings, right. Really?
So there are 10,000 ships in the world, and when one it ages out, right? Mm-hmm. They literally drive it ashore in India, and the Indians take it apart for the steel. That's what they do, because it's worth nothing. Go look at the province in China that takes all the computers, the computer boards, the cell phones, the TVs, and look at the production of waste from solar panels that are burnt out in China for them to recover small amounts of minerals. I mean, it's crazy. And no one wants to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, when you got 1 billion people, well, I guess not all of them are computerized, but.
Well, no, but the point I'm talking about is they talk about the damage that that oil produces, but there's other byproducts of other equipment and stuff in the world that creates a huge amount of terrible waste.
Well, they talk about electric cars all the time. What are you going to do with all the lithium batteries that when they wear out or
that's right,
are no longer what are you going to do? Bury them back and wait till you can dig them up again?
And two comments about that. Last night, Biden talked about, we want to have 10 million electric cars. I don't know, really?
Yeah.
There's 65 million cars produced a year right now, number one. Number two, in Canada, in BC and Ontario, 42,000 stations to charge electric cars. Guess who paid for them? The taxpayer.
Sure.
What was the reasoning? To get people to buy more electric cars. And it was free. Okay, now here, guess where we are today? Literally 3 years out. Now you have to pay to get electricity. The most important thing you need to know, America, is your grid is at 105%. And if you can't produce more electricity, how are you going to charge cars?
Well, that's what we talked about earlier. There was a caller asking that very question. Don't they know what this is going to do to the grid?
Yeah.
And there's a reason that I don't know why we go back to this, but back in the 1920s, I believe, there was something like 60,000 cars in New York City. Half of them were electric. And what got rid of the electric car was the starter, because people didn't want to get out and crank the car. And once they got an electric starter, people said, well, gee, I can go further on a pint of gas than I can on this little battery that's in my car. So I'm changing over, and the electric car died, and we've had internal combustion cars ever since. The smart thing would be to make them natural gas
or steam,
either one.
Yeah. Both technologies are viable. But anyway, see, we cover everything, buddy. We do that. We get the job done. We get her done.
Yeah. From our text line, 478-8298, great bumper sticker, oil saves whales.
It's true.
It's true.
The bottom line, it's true.
Let's see. Chuck and Nancy say tariffs don't go far enough. Protectionist tariffs are a liberal dream. The genius of Trump is he can convince Republicans that tariffs are not liberal. Let's see. Next, they'll be burning libraries. They've all taken over the web and MSN. So,
good point, though.
yeah, that'll get us. Yeah, well, could be. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm glad the music's coming up because I'm conflagrated about this. Conflagrated. That's a new word. That add that to your dictionary.
That's right.
Right.
It's overwhelming, my friend. It's overwhelming.
Yes, we do. All right. Shane, we got a caller waiting on the line. If you could converse with them, we'll take a break here at the bottom of the hour, and we'll be back with callers and more of whatever you want to talk about right after this. 24 minutes for the top of the hour. Shane Montalban has been rubber hosing a caller. Let's go to the phones. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you are on the air. What's up?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Okay. Might be in a spotty spot. But, yeah, I was talking to Shane about, you guys made the comment about steam cars. The issue with that is that the government will still regulate that. They regulate boilers all the time. There used to be a couple here, and used to run a threshing bee that would run all these steam tractors, but they couldn't afford the inspections every single year to put on one event. And so, the amount of power that comes from steam is unbelievable. So for 1 cubic inch of water, you get 1,700 cubic inches of steam. And that is what we get our energy from when it comes to the coal-fired power plants. They're heating up that water with the coal, turning those generators with steam. And that's how they're producing so much power. And, it's a shame that people still believe that, they plug in and somebody.
Oh, I think he was heading into the mountains. I think we lost him.
Yeah, I think we did.
His point
Sorry.
is that people need to understand that we're still using the GE term generator, the turbine.
Right.
And a turbine is run by steam. So, coal and gas and biomass and all these products, they don't produce electricity. They produce the steam for turbines.
Right.
That's the bottom line, okay?
Yeah. All right. Let's take another call. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
How's it going, guys? It's Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, so the immigration thing, the first step you need to do is you need to get a list of things you got to have to get employed. And if the employer doesn't follow that list, then you throw one employer in jail and no one will come here to get a job anymore.
Well, that's true. Yeah, and those laws are in place, but nobody enforces them.
Stopped enforcing it. Yep, in '86 they stopped enforcing it.
Yep.
And then the second thing you need to do is you need to allow the farm workers to come across because we need them, farm workers, and you have to guarantee them that they will be able to get back across next year or they will just stay here. That's why they're not going back, because they're scared they're not going to be able to get back up here to work.
Yeah.
And then the refugees, which are refugees, they're not immigrants. They keep mixing all this up like it's all one thing. It's not one problem. The refugees, I'll take two right now for $273,000 a year. Easy. I'll take them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a ridiculous amount of how much it costs us to keep those that we're paying a private prison industry to house. I don't get it.
Yeah, we solved that problem today. Foster care for all those kids, right? Foster care.
Yeah, they should. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but they should be with their parents, obviously, first and foremost, but I don't know. And
I said to you, I met this couple. Let me just tell you, I met this couple, 11 foster children they've had. And I said to them, what has normally happened with the foster cares? Because they said they've had them on an average of 9 months, mostly babies. That's what they prefer. But they say, about 80% of them end up back with their families, and 20% are adopted. So the bottom line is, and NGOs, and church people, they'll take these children in foster care. That's a solution. Like the Army Corps of Engineers and a whole bunch of ideas that we here with Tom and I, the Eagle Man, have tried to come up with solutions, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And I just think it's sad that we demonize them. I mean, wasn't Jesus a refugee? And
that's right.
Then God God create everybody in His image, so we should just love them. And I think that's what's missing in our country right now. Is a lot of love. So
there's an easy solution to care for them. Is the bottom line, right?
Right. Yep.
Hey, thanks for the call.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
You too. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Let's see. From our text line, how about the rare earth mining that has to occur in order to make all this stuff? China has some rare earth mining that they do over there. We have some here in the United States, of course, but not at the levels they do in China. But
well, that's true, and they are actually the largest producer of rare earth minerals in the world, and a lot of corporations buy them from China because of the need. So there you go.
Yeah. Let's see. Lithium batteries will be reprocessed into our water, just like fluoride.
Don't know. I don't understand that comment.
I don't know. Well, I guess if they're buried, then they go into the groundwater, and then they'll. Okay. Yeah, I think that's what it means. Yang seems to be the most honest.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, he was not a bad guy. So, let's see. I'm not going to read all this, but Tom, use your small business magic to show us how to win. So the other one was just a repeat from a previous text. So not going there. So, all right, man. Phone lines are lighting up. So let's take some calls. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on the air. What's up?
Good morning, Tom and Shane. How you guys?
Good.
This is good old Steve-O.
How you doing, man?
Hey, we're doing well, Tom. Thanks for asking. Hey, one thing's blatantly apparent. The Democrat Party of today is nothing like the Democrats of old, even as recently as the 90s. I mean, the whole party is, gone berserk. It's a wacko party. I mean, from Joe Biden's, the last debate, Joe Biden's, frequent bouts with dementia, to Cory Booker's rants, to Marianne Williamson. Looking at Marianne Williamson, I wonder, guys, is she going to use tarot cards and crystals to kind of guide? I don't think she needs any advisors.
Reagan had an astronomer, didn't he?
Yeah,
astrologer. Yeah.
But guys, she's my choice, and I'll tell you why. She could channel the greatness of all our past presidents. It'd be just like resurrecting them, and they, by electing her, my gosh, it'd be like electing 20 of the best presidents we've ever had. She just channeled that energy.
Wow.
Yeah, can you imagine her making a State of the Union address and saying, Lincoln told me to say this, right? Wilson told me to say that. Reagan said this is the solution. That would be good. You're right on with that. I love that. That's great.
I like that.
She would. But you know what, guys? I think it's the first time, maybe. This is like really a first for me. I disagree with that old timer that calls in, and even you, Shane. I played Division I football, and I was a linebacker. And if we were ahead, we'd blitz a lot. And if I reached across, or mentioned to the offensive line, hey, you know what, we're coming on blitzes, a screen pass would work real good against us right now. That's my analogy for you guys. Telling the Democrats, hey, don't fight among yourselves.
Yeah, right.
Focus on Trump. Come on, guys.
Good call. Excellent call.
This party is, if they get in there, my worst fear is they'll ruin democracy. These are not, they are literally a dangerous party. But, I gave that football analogy because let the idiots fight among themselves. That's what they do best.
You're right.
They attack Trump incessantly, on minutia. It's minutia. So, let them continue on that course. But, I got to say, most of the time with old Clint, especially you, Shane, I got to say I agree with you guys about 99% of the time.
Well, good. I guess.
Have a good one, guys.
All right, man. Thanks for the call. All right, Jay, we got a caller waiting. I got to take a break. We'll be right back. 14 minutes for the top of the hour. It is Thursday, August 1st, 2019. Caller waiting on the line. Caller, thanks for waiting. You're on the air. What's up with you?
Hey, Tom. This is Kevin.
Kevin.
Hey, first of all, I wanted to thank you for that thing at the Grand Tree. That was awesome to meet everybody and chat with everybody.
Thanks for coming. Glad you could make it.
Yeah. No, I know. I hope we can make it a annual thing or something. Okay, was it Mike in Manhattan? Because this is so frustrating, this whole refugee thing. Jesus, first of all, Jesus wasn't a refugee. Why did you guys not call him on that? Jesus went to the Capitol to pay his taxes. They didn't have.
Yeah, he wasn't a refugee.
Then.
He was. He was just there for the census. Yeah, he was there for the census and the taxes. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like going from Bozeman to Helena because they don't have cars. You take your fuel and you ride there. I mean, it's unbelievable. He's a refugee. And secondly, most of these people are coming up from Central America. They have to go to Mexico and get refuge in Mexico if they're fleeing their country.
Right.
You just don't skip borders. And we also have a certain amount of people that we can let in, and there's an order and a process. You can't just have everybody come in. So it's not about turning people away with brown skin. It's about saying that we already let in almost 1 million people a year. And at some point, you got to stop it and say, we've had our full for a year. Now you get in line, and like everybody else did, like everyone else who calls in on all the national shows who said, I'm from this country, that country. I had to wait 2 years, 1 year, 5 years, whatever it takes. But enough of the Jesus was a refugee. Unbelievable that people don't even know. They call in and they'll throw the Jesus thing around. He was off in his own country at his capital paying his taxes. All right, I just had a vent.
Okay, no problem.
All
hey,
right, you guys.
All right, thanks, Kevin. All right, well, let's see. Our text line is also lighting up. Let's see. Burning libraries. The one at Alexandria burned by Muslims. Even if I'm sorry, having a problem reading this because there's no spaces between the words. So
yeah, but the library in Alexandria was burned by the Romans. So
yeah, okay.
Caesar burned that.
Yeah. From our text line 4788298, it's about efficiency. Electric cars are efficient, whereas most of the energy of the internal combustion engine goes out the exhaust. Electric creates more challenges that American ingenuity can solve, and I would say that's probably true. That certainly can. So. Let's see. Lithium in the water to prevent suicides. Okay, I don't know about that. Well,
real quickly, I want to remind everyone, China right now has the most electric cars on the road than anyone else in the world. Over 2 million.
Yep, they are doing the job. So
yeah.
Well, and every manufacturer's got some line of cars, I believe, that are electric, no matter how small, but. It'll be interesting. Will we have self-driving electric cars? So I don't know. Maybe that's the next thing.
And another little factoid: 80% of China's electricity is produced from burning coal.
All right, let's go to the phones. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you are on the air. What's going on?
Oh, I just have one quick comment.
Sure.
It just amazes me how. The liberals, were anti-slavery about everything that happened 200 freaking years ago or whatever it was, 150 years ago. And it's okay to get your smartphone and everything else from China, which is all slavery over there. And then the other thing is, I like that one guy that calls in because he's kind of from the other side, but he remains calm, which is nice. And that's my biggest issue is remaining calm.
Yeah.
But, why is it that people think that white people can't farm? I'm out here on 191, and I'm surrounded by farmland. And last week they were all out here harvesting, and I didn't see any brown people. And all of it is done. All the work's done. They're all making money. They're all paying taxes. There were chicks out there. There were fat guys, tall guys, old guys, young guys. And everybody acts like Americans can't frickin' do work anymore. It's because we're taught that we don't have to, that we're entitled for crap instead of having to work for it.
Yeah. When I was homeless in California, I would have picked vegetables.
Absolutely. Good God, my dad had me out mowing lawns for the old people in our neighborhood when I was 10 frickin' years old. And
me too.
Sure he was paying me the $5 and just telling me they were paying me the $5. Yeah. But I did that all the way through high school, and I love the work, and I don't see why people are so frickin' scared to work.
I know. I used to put up bales for $1 an hour.
It's insane.
A penny a bale sometimes.
Out all day long, and I love it. I go home exhausted. I get up in the morning, and I want to go do it again.
Yeah, but you had some cash in your pocket, and life was good.
It's just been a big old T-bone that farted all day long before it got turned into a steak, thank God. And, it's delicious for dinner. I don't care how much it farts every freaking day. I don't care if it's farting right next to me. I live in a cabin in the middle of a cow ranch, It's just,
That's right.
Good God, man.
That's a tiptoe through the tulips, isn't it?
We got to keep telling people all the time that Americans can do it just fine. We don't need any more people from. I mean, we've had points. I don't remember when it was, but it was some point immigration got to be where it's too much. We cut it off for years because we need time for everybody to assimilate and start building our own frickin' culture and being proud of it. But I got to get back to work and watch the farmers work next to me.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it. All right, take care.
Well, remember last year the guy from California made news across the country because he was paying people $35 an hour to pick tomatoes.
Yeah.
Remember that? We talked about
it. I do, yeah. We talked about that. We got to take a break. We got to do the Rush update here. We've got a caller on the line, Shane, so if you can talk to them. We'll be right back with more right after Rush, and here's Rush. 3 minutes before the top of the hour. Well, about 4 minutes, actually. I don't know. Time flies when you're counting.
Yeah. I just want to remind everyone that Dow's now up 250 to 2,700 again. So that confirms my Japanese trade yesterday. So there you go, folks.
27,000, I think you meant, but
yeah,
that's okay.
I'm sorry, 27,000. Yeah. But it's up 250 from
We got
yesterday.
it back. We got it back.
Of course we did. Yeah.
Of course. There we go. Poll question of the day. Who won the second Democratic debate? Well, Trump is in the lead, as he was yesterday. Yeah. He's got 46% of the vote. Tulsi Gabbard is doing well, 17% of the vote. She's in second place. Joe Biden's in third with 10% of the vote. And undecided is 7%. And then we've got a 4 or 5 way tie between Kamala Harris at 3.57, Michael Bennet the same, Cory Booker the same, Andrew Yang the same, and Julian Castro the same. No votes for Gillibrand, de Blasio, or Jay Inslee so far. So let's take another phone call here, and then we got to go. Caller, you are on the air. What's up?
Hi, this is Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
I just wanted to let you know that I listen to the station while I work because I like being educated. I don't have time or the vision to read. I appreciate you, Tom and Shane, for your knowledge, your friendliness, your credibility, and your flexibility.
Wow, thank you. That's so kind of you.
There are a lot of knowledgeable people who call in, and I'm smart enough to know who's telling the truth, who isn't, or who's been duped.
Well, good. I hope so.
I'm a Bozeman native, and I've listened to KMMS since 2000 when I moved back. Your show is excellent, and I really appreciate Shane volunteering his time and all the time that you, Tom, have volunteered over the years.
That's true.
You have. Chris and Dominic weren't worth getting up for.
Well, I'm glad you get up for us. So.
Oh, I do.
Well,
and
good.
Thanks for doing the show.
Well, we appreciate that very much. That's nice to hear. We, as I say, we're guessing what you want to hear, and we hope we want to inform you, but entertain you, and we want to be worth listening to. And I think that's why I asked Shane to come along with me this time around. I've done the show alone, of course, in the past,
right?
But adding Shane, I think, is a morning team is much easier, and you get more points of view, and we really appreciate that you feel that way, and we hope others do too.
Well, I'm sure they do, and I know that my friends that listen do.
Well, good. Well, we appreciate that very much. Thanks for the call. That's a great way to end the show.
You bet.
All right. Thank you much. All right. All right. Say goodbye, Shane.
Bye, Mayor. Looking forward to tomorrow because it's Friday.
It's Friday. Finally Friday tomorrow. All right. Hey, don't forget to vote in our poll. Who won the second Democratic debate? You can get that over at KMMSAM.com or on your smartphone at AM 1450 KMMS. Don't forget to get the KMMS app, too, AM 1450 KMMS. Get over there and get the app, and you can app chat with us. That's the other way that you can reach us besides the text line, or if you don't want to be on the air, we're happy to do that as well. And the app chat's right next to the listen button. So we'll see you tomorrow, 6 a.m.